Thank you for joining me to another preview video where I'll be looking at Arsenal taking on Dundalk FC in the Europa League. Last time out we got a narrow victory against Rapid Vienna away, which is arguably our toughest opposition within a group, whereas Dundalk FC lost to Molde, I believe it was 2-1, and additionally they lost over the weekend in their league to Waterford. So it's perhaps a decent time playing them, but regardless, we are Arsenal FC and any time should be decent when playing against Dundalk when you are a massive club like us. But we do tend to make things a bit difficult for ourselves, and I've not really seen us go at any team so far this season. You might bring up the Fulham game, but even then I don't really feel as if that was a convincing result. And in terms of even the opening goal for that game, it took a very fortunate goal where Willian took a shot and then he ricocheted off the goalkeeper and Lacazette just tapped it in. The only time where I've seen we've had glimpses of brilliance, it was the second half of Sheffield United where Willian was more deployed centrally and then Pepe came on and was on the right hand side, Saka on the left and Auba through the middle. And I'd like to see Arteta try and adopt that approach more often. But yeah, in terms of the last video, just want to touch on something. I'm not Arteta out. I don't want Arteta out. I feel as if it's a bit too soon to go and call for manager's head. I feel as if we need to perhaps give him some time, but he needs to take it upon himself to realise he is making quite a few mistakes. Just because you support someone doesn't mean you should follow them blindly and you can't criticise them and call out their mistakes. He has made a few mistakes here and there, and my issue with him is he's been here for so long and he still doesn't know his best formation or his best starting 11, and that's a massive concern and a huge alarm bell for me, because Unai Emery, throughout his spell at Arsenal, he still couldn't identify his starting 11. And that's why every single week there was chopping and changing. And it seems like we're going down that same road with Arteta. I'm willing to give him some time. But if this continues, then unfortunately, I'm going to have to sort of call out and say, sorry, not for me. Another issue I have with Arteta is not entrusting younger players. And I feel as if that's where we're slowly going wrong. You know, Arsene Wenger was fantastic in bringing in the youth. I hate Unai Emery. I'm not a fan of his. However, we have to, give it to him. He did give Matteo Guendouzi, he gave Martinelli, he gave Saka more exposure, Nelson more exposure. He gave all these young players the opportunity and against these cup games. Whereas my pet concern right now is, for example, look at the whole situation with Saliba. He would have been perfect to play in this game against Dundalk. And we've also got Molde coming up as well. Perfect time to play him. But unfortunately, he's not been included in the squad. And for me, that's a massive, massive mistake by Arteta. But yeah, moving on to the my lineup anyway. So I'm going to go with a team which I believe we should put out. I might put a few surprises there, but I just feel as if, you know what, let's just entrust some of these younger players. Let's just go at it and see what happens, really. Let's stop having, it seems like we're playing constantly on gear 2. Players are being drilled with overload of information that they seem to be static and robotic. They're not really being mobile. They're not expressing themselves. And I feel as if now Arteta just needs to get hold of the guys and say, you know what, just go out there, express yourself, do what you need to do. And I think that's the best thing for us for this game. And I also think that this is a perfect opportunity for Arteta to form a system, to form a formation in which he wants to take forward with the club itself. So use this as a platform to embed in a system which we will use long term. Without saying any more on that, let me go into my starting 11. In goal, Ronison. Won't mind if Matt Macy's there, but we can't have Bernd Leno there, because for me, at some point he needs a rest, and at some point we need to see if Macy or Runnison is good enough to make the cut. If, for example, Leno does get an injury as he did last season against Brighton, we never know. We need to give sort of opportunity to the other goalkeepers to see if they can make the mark. Really, it just makes no sense. Why did we go out to the market and buy Runnison if we don't feel as if he's decent enough to play against cup games like a team like Dundalk? Just makes no sense for me. And if that's the case, then we should have just kept Matt Macy and promoted him within, rather than wasting 2 million on Runnison. Yeah, but that's my choice. Runnison, if not Matt Macy. Moving on to the right hand side, as my right back, I would have Maitland-Niles. I just feel as if I'm not really a big fan of Cedric. I don't understand why we decided to sign him up. I'm pretty sure it was a Don Raul dodgy, some sort of dodgy dealing going on there. I would want to see Maitland-Niles there and see if he's decent enough to make the cut going forward in terms of the league position as well. In terms of the two centre backs, unfortunately we will see Mustafi there only because William Saliba's not in the squad, and we've got several injuries to the likes of Rob Holding, David Luiz, Callum Chambers is still out, and so is Pablo Mari. So we'll unfortunately see a partnership of Mustafi and Gabriel, who's been our best defender. I would have liked to have seen the young lad we got at Tottenham over the summer. I believe his name is Tengzani. I know I butchered his name. Apologies for that. But you know who I'm talking about. I would like to see him in the bench and perhaps maybe come on and see what he's all about as well. Moving on to the left-hand side, unfortunately we will see Sead Kolasinac only because I feel as if Kieran Tierney needs a rest for the game against United at Old Trafford this weekend. So I believe Tierney needs to be rested. I would have loved to have seen Bowler play there. Unfortunately, we loaned him out and we decided to keep Kolasinac. But hey, so therefore Kolasinac has to play for me. Moving on to the three midfielders. Now this might surprise a few people. My midfield trio. I'd go with Emil Smith-Rowe. He had a fantastic loan spell at Huddersfield last season, and I think he's perhaps now maybe ready in terms of the first team to come in and showcase what he's all about and showcase his development since we last saw him in an Arsenal jersey. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for Emil Smith-Rowe. Now this one here will probably surprise everyone. I want to see Ben Cottrell. Honestly, Ben Cottrell has been really good for the under-23s over the last 2 seasons. He's been a very consistent player as well. Neat little player, a good passer, and maybe he might be our answer to some of the creativity we lack in midfield. Some of you might be thinking, why not give Willock opportunity? I'm not a big fan of Willock. I think I've seen enough to say he won't make it at Arsenal. He's not to say he's a bad player, but I just can't see a future career for Willock at Arsenal. I'm sorry, I'm just honest. So Ben Cottrell, Emil Smith-Rowe, and what I'll do in terms of to solidify that midfield, I'll bring in Mohamed El-Neni just for that defensive assurances to ensure that the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe and Ben Cottrell can go out there, express themselves, and he's there, having their back, making sure that any attacks is ultimately nullified, takes the ball off him, passes it on to the likes of Smith-Rowe and Ben, and see what they are capable of doing. In terms of my front three, I'm going to go with Alexander Lacazette up front because, personally speaking, I won't start him against the game at Man United. I'll have him on a bench and I'll play Aubameyang through the middle. So why not get Lacazette in right now to play against Dundalk? Moving on to the left-hand side, I'd play Reiss Nelson. I think Reiss Nelson, unfortunately, has been overlooked this season, and a few times. Last season there was times where I thought, why is this guy coming on? He doesn't do anything, brings on no impact. But a few times I've seen him towards the back end of last season against the game against Liverpool, the way he harassed their defenders, the way he he shows more energy, he shows more conviction now when he plays, and I just feel as if it's not fair for him all of a sudden to be dropped. So I would like to see Nelson come in, and on the right hand side, I'd like to see Willian, and then maybe second half bring on Pepe. And only reason why I'm saying Willian, because honestly speaking, for the game against Manchester United, I would like to see Nicolas Pepe deployed on that right hand side. So that's why I'm going with a Willian. In terms of my scoreline prediction, I'd say 3. I'm going for a 3-0. If we go for it and we're not too pragmatic, I can see us going there, getting a 3-0. I'm probably going to look stupid now, and they're probably going to beat us. But hey, we'll see what happens. Anyways, if you could please subscribe and let me know your predictions and who would be your starting 11. Thank you so much.